15-page document had needed some amendments.
Parce que la déclaration avait quelques problèmes et il fallait la changer.
So we reconvened after the plenary with the movers of the motion or the declaration and agreed to sanitize a bit.
Et donc, on a appelé la délégation de la RDC pour s'asseoir avec le bureau et nous sommes entendus et nous avons changé, fait des changements.
So thank you to the first vice president.
Merci à la première vice-présidente.
Thank you to the fourth vice president here.
Merci au quatrième vice-président ici présent.
Thank you to the second vice president also who is not here.
Merci au deuxième vice-président qui n'est pas présent en ce moment.
We managed to agree on a document and the content,
Nous sommes mis d'accord sur le contenu de ce document
which we can now read,
que nous pouvons maintenant lire,
which I was supposed to have read in the chamber.
que nous devions avoir lu en plénière. Maintenant, je vais lire la déclaration.
And I want to thank the chairperson of the Central Caucus,
Nous voulons aussi remercier le président du caucus central,
Honorable Felix,
l'honorable Félix,
for showing leadership in this issue.
pour montrer comment il est un bon leader.
And I want to thank the delegation of DRC to Pan-African Parliament.
Et nous voulons remercier la délégation de la RDC du Parlement panafricain.
I see maybe 2 are missing. Is it? I see 3.
Nous avons 2 membres qui ne sont pas présents en ce moment, mais nous avons 3 ici présents.
Anyway, I was supposed to read this. It's called a declaration as follows.
Voici, je vais maintenant lire la déclaration.
It's a declaration of solidarity for the cessation of the war in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Sorry, you have the statement here in French,
Yes.
so no problem. Yes. The Pan-African Parliament, considering Article 17 of the Constitutive Act of the African Union establishing the Pan-African Parliament, the PAP, with a view of ensuring the full participation of the African peoples in the economic development integration of the continent, considering also Article 3 of the Protocol to the treaty establishing African Economic Community relating to the Pan-African Parliament, and Article 4 of the Rules of Procedure of the Pan-African Parliament, which empower PAP to facilitate regional cooperation, development, and the promotion of collective self-reliance and economic recovery, as well as the implementation of the policies, objectives, and programs of the African Union. Considering that one of the objectives of the Pan-African Parliament is to promote peace, security, and stability with a view to contributing to a more prosperous future for the people of Africa. Deeply concerned by the current situation in the Democratic Republic of Congo, marked by the continuing attacks and atrocities perpetuated by the rebels of the M23 group in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, expressing its sincere solidarity with the Congolese people who have been subjected to this violence on a daily basis for more than 30 years. Further reaffirming respect for the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Democratic Republic of Congo in accordance with the Charter of the United Nations and the Constitutive Act of the African Union. Convinced that violence has never been the appropriate way to settle disputes, and that the Pan-African Parliament remains firmly committed to supporting all efforts to achieve a just and lasting peace in the Democratic Republic of Congo, in compliance with the provisions of Article 5, Sub-Article B, C, and D of the rules of procedure of the Pan-African Parliament, which empowers the PAP, among other things, to organize debates, discuss and express opinions and make recommendations and pass resolutions on the objective and all matters relating to the African Union and its organs and the regional economic communities, member states and their organs and institutions. A minute. Meritum, come here. Here we come. Look, you don't check the quality. I can't read the. Sorry, I have to wait. There's a page which is not. Sorry for that. This document did not have another page. Another page was missing. So I should go back here to make the thing flow. In compliance with the provisions of Article 5, B, C, and D of the Rules of Procedure of the Pan-African Parliament, which empower the PAP, among other things, to organize debates, discuss, express opinions, make recommendations, and pass resolutions on the objectives and all matters relating to the Pan-African Parliament and its organs, the regional economic communities, member states, and their organs and institutions. One, firmly condemns the armed attacks carried out by the M3 rebels in the eastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which have resulted in the loss of many lives, the rape of children and women, summary executions, the eradication of entire villages, the forced displacements of thousands of families, and the destruction of social, health, and educational infrastructures. Number two, express its deepest concern at the deteriorating security situation, human suffering, and serious violations of the fundamental rights of innocent civilians who are victims of these conflicts. Three, supports the efforts of the African Union through the Peace and Security Council of the African Union, as well as the East African Community and the Southern African Development Community, SADC, for the cessation of hostilities and the implementation of the ceasefire. Urges the international community, in particular the African Union and the regional economic communities, to redouble their efforts to support the restoration of peace, security, and stability in the hard-hit eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Calls for urgent diplomatic intervention to put an end to the atrocious and unjustified attacks against civilian populations, which constitute serious and flagrant violations of human rights and international humanitarian law, as well as of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Also calls upon all parties involved to respect the peace and ceasefire agreements that have been signed and to work towards resolving the conflict through dialogue in order to guarantee the protection of civilians in the regions exposed to these attacks. And lastly, urges the Congolese government and the people to refrain from violence in resolving their differences and making any demands. And is signed, of course, by Caucus Chair, Central Africa Chair, Honorable Felix Mponseriniga, and then the fourth Vice President here, also from the Central Africa, representing Central Africa, supported this, Honorable Jida Mama Mahma. And of course, the Bureau accepted, and the Bureau is now presenting to you as the media. As usual, questions are invited. Clarifications invited. And I have a full panel here to assist me. Go ahead.
What's the role of APRM in this?
The role of APRM is to support the Pan-African Parliament, which empowers the PAP, among other things, to organize debates, discuss, express opinions, and make recommendations on the objectives and all matters relating to the Pan-African Parliament and its organs, the regional economic communities, member states, and their organs and institutions. 4. Urges the international community, in particular the African Union and the regional economic communities, to redouble their efforts to support the restoration of peace, security, and stability in the hard-hit eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, which have resulted in the loss of many lives, the rape of children and women, summary executions, the forced displacement of thousands of families, and the destruction of social, health, and educational infrastructures. Number two, express its deepest concern at the deteriorating security situation, human suffering, and serious violations of the fundamental rights of innocent civilians who are victims of these conflicts. 3 the role of APRM in what?
In this,
No. The APRM was coming for a totally different business.
okay,
We're supposed to have an MOU with them.
okay.
They haven't arrived. That's another chapter. Yes, thank you. Any clarification, sought?
Concerning conflicts in member countries, there were sentiments aired yesterday to the effect that around 2005, the Pan-African Parliament constituted deployed or was part of the people who mediated in the peace in Sudan. But now the capacity of the Pan-African Parliament and other organs of the African Union in trying to promote peace was described as to have gone down. What are the plans now for the Pan-African Parliament to try and maybe have teeth in mediating in the conflict in Eastern DRC?
Yes, Your Excellency. The gentleman was asking what are the initiatives. Pardon.
No. Let me repeat it. He's saying PAP around 2005. He used to send these missions, fact-finding missions in areas of conflict, report, and they did it in Sudan. And actually, they addressed very important issues in Sudan. But I understand PAP no longer has the resources. This is just true. What is PAP now doing to go back and be on the ground on issues of conflict?
Il dit qu'en 2005, le Parlement panafricain organisait des missions concernant les conflits au Soudan pour essayer de maintenir la paix. Mais maintenant, vu les ressources que le Parlement panafricain a en ce moment, comment vont-ils faire pour pouvoir arranger tout ce qui se passe et faciliter la paix au Congo?
Okay, you'll be interpreting again because I will be responding. It is true. First of all, the protocol, the rules of the AU.
Premièrement, le règlement de l'Union africaine.
One of the functions of Pan-African Parliament, among many, in terms of the AU protocols, is to ensure peace and security and stability on the continent. It's one of the functions of this parliament. And indeed, from its establishment, 2004, when it was launched, from that time to about 2015 or 17, PAP was very active on issues of conflict resolution on the continent. It dispatched a lot of missions composed of MPs to Sudan, to Djibouti, I remember, Central African Republic, I remember, Sudan, Darfur, I remember, I can't even go exhaust the list, Libya. During the no-fly zone, we sent a mission to Libya, to Tunisia, when President Ben Ali ran away from his country. I can go on and on. We have done a lot in that area. But from about 2019, 2020, those activities have gone down seriously gone down, or the scale of activity is diminished because of one reason, and that is budget, insufficient budget. The PAP budget at one time reached a maximum of 36 million. But from 2016, it went down 19, no, 22, 21, 19, 16. It's now sitting on 10. So a decline from 36 to 10 means we've lost more than 20 million. It has then had the impact of reducing our activities. So every committee, in effect, for committees after 2020, after COVID, or during and after COVID, there is no funding, it's zero funding for committees. So committees cannot undertake their work. It's zero funding for missions or fact-finding missions. So the committees, like cooperation on conflict resolution, are unable to do their work. So yes, we need to work hard. And the only route is the AU budget. We need to fight hard. We are doing so. But we are still operating on what we call a COVID budget, a budget which assumes that there will be no physical meetings, that everything will be virtual, and the services that we require are only interpretation only. Yet we are sitting in the chamber. So yeah, we are going through very difficult times in terms of funding so that we carry out the functions that we are expected to do. Thank you. Any other clarifications? Yes.
Mr. President, do you want us to translate first before we get?
Oh, yes. Yes. I think so. You are right.
Thank you, Honorable President. Moi, je commence par là où j'étais. Je suis entré dans la salle. Il parlait du budget. Il avait dit qu'à un certain moment, notre budget était de 36 millions de dollars. Et de 36, aux environs des années 2018-2019, il est tombé jusqu'à 10 millions de dollars. Et c'était le budget qui était reconduit pour la période de Covid. Donc, on a continué à nous donner, à accorder ce budget jusqu'à présent. Donc, on passe à travers des moments très difficiles. Les commissions, par exemple, n'ont pas de dotation budgétaire. C'est 530 000 dollars pour 2 sessions, alors que l'une nous coûte presque 700-800 000 dollars. Donc, la seule voie, c'est l'Union africaine. C'est de là qu'on puise notre budget et on continue bien sûr à nous battre pour qu'on ait le budget conséquent et adéquat pour nos travaux. Merci.
Any other question, or we are done? You were going to ask a question? Yes.
Okay.
But I was about to say the situation in Eastern DRC has seen the countries in the African continent at times having varying positions with regards to how to deal with it. And as the continent's legislative body, how do you seek to navigate the position that Africa has to take with regards to solving issues in Eastern DRC? As we see, some of the countries do not seem to be fully backing the resolution that you may want to have as a continent per se.
Mr. Morat.
Et il aimerait savoir quelle serait la voie, oui, quelle serait la voie à suivre par le pape dans le cadre de la résolution du conflit qui est en RDC, sachant que il y a certains pays qui ne supportent pas ou qui ne soutiennent pas certaines approches ou méthodes dans ce conflit, les méthodes de l'Union africaine dans ce conflit. Donc, il aimerait savoir la position du Parlement panafricain.
Right. Honorable.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, de m'avoir honoré pour répondre à cette question. C'est vrai, chaque pays a sa vision, mais ici, au niveau du Parlement panafricain, nous, au Parlement panafricain, la RDC est un pays membre et que le Rwanda aussi est un pays membre. Donc, nous allons jouer la diplomatie. C'est le caucus de l'Afrique centrale. Comme le RDC appartient au caucus de l'Afrique centrale, c'est le caucus de l'Afrique centrale qui avait déposé la déclaration au niveau du bureau du Parlement panafricain pour condamner cet acte. Et ce qui est logique en respectant les lois et les règles du Parlement panafricain, et pour raison pour laquelle aujourd'hui le bureau du Parlement panafricain doit aussi faire cette déclaration ou doit lire la déclaration émise par le caucus de l'Afrique centrale. Donc, le Parlement panafricain, quel que soit Alpha, que les autres aiment ou pas, nous allons passer par la voie diplomatique pour aller voir le président congolais, aller voir le président de Rwanda. Donc, s'il y a un conflit qui existe entre le Congo et M23 et que M23, leur base arrière où on peut rencontrer les gens de M23 au niveau de Rwanda, donc ça nous fera beaucoup plaisir et que le Rwanda peut jouer aussi la diplomatie pour arrêter ce conflit qui a aujourd'hui, en moins d'une année, a fait perdre quand même des milliers de personnes et a fait déplacer aussi des millions de personnes du Congo. Ce n'est pas un acte louable. Donc, raison pour laquelle la voie est la voie diplomatique, quel que soit Alpha, que les autres pays s'alignent d'un côté ou de l'autre côté. Le conflit est congolais. Donc, le M23, il se déclare Congolais. Donc, aujourd'hui, on est face à une crise à l'intérieur du Congo. Et c'est une crise entre les Congolais. Qu'est-ce qu'il faut faire? Il faut trouver la solution. Donc, la solution, c'est passer par le Rwanda. Voilà à peu près ce que je pouvais dire, Monsieur le Président.
In summary, Honorable Vice President has said that it's true that each country has its own position. But we, as Pan-African Parliament, we are going to opt or to follow the diplomatic means to contribute to the resolution of this conflict. DRC is part of the Pan-African Parliament. Rwanda is part of the Pan-African Parliament. We will endeavor to meet the leaders of Congo, DRC, and of Rwanda to contribute, of course, to this resolution of the conflict. We will use the diplomatic means for that. Thank you. That's all.
We have had enough interaction. We can call it a day. Continue with your good work into tomorrow. Tomorrow is our final day in terms of activities of PAP. We continue interacting with the PAP Bureau on any issues wherever you are. We likely see you at the next session here at PAP, maybe in May. You said May, June, maybe May, but we have no dates yet. Yeah, just keep your phones on so that you get information. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup.
Il me semble qu'on a assez interagi aujourd'hui et on continuera à le faire, même demain, et bien sûr lors de la prochaine session qui sera soit en mai, soit en juin.